Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome to this Wednesday Hump Day edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep, brought to you by Thinkorswim. I'm Spencer Israel, as always joined by Joel Elconin and maybe a slightly under the weather Dennis Dick today, but he's going to power through with us to talk about that continued rally in the shippers from yesterday. We're going to talk all about that. We're also going to recap some earnings we got this morning from Target and Lowe's. Got a few notable rating changes as well. We're going to have two guests on today. Our first is at 8:15. He is Wally Olapede, senior instructor at Right Side Trading, and then after him at 8:35, we'll be joined by Tommy Lackey, the managing partner and portfolio manager at Relativity Capital Advisors. Joel, how are we doing this morning?
We are trading lower here by 7.25 points. If you were paying attention last night, we got up to the all-time high, which was 84.25. We went 3 ticks below that to 85 and then came down to 21.69. So we'll be keeping an eye on that pre-market low of 21.69. Not a lot in there after that on the downside. Crude, what a day yesterday in crude. Got back a lot of the losses from the last few weeks. Snuck over $46, but giving back some of those gains, trading down 43 cents at 45.38. And gold and silver just hanging out. Silver hanging out that critical psychological $17 support level. Dennis, how you doing today? You sound a little under the weather.
Guess I forgot to take my vitamins here. Still fighting that cold here. It's just pesky. These things just seem to come and they don't go away, Joel. I've been fighting this one for a couple of weeks, but you wake up in the morning and you feel like crap, and then by the end of the day you feel okay. I don't know why that is. I wish it was the other way around, because then I would just go to bed. But anyways, I'm going to fight through it here for you guys. Just fighting this cold, though.
All right, where would you like to start? I mean, do you want to just go right to the mover of the day, of the week?
I'll just go right into those shippers. just talk the dry ships and all the other shipping stocks. It's crazy. I mean, it was crazy yesterday. It was even more, or the day before, it was even more crazy yesterday. I mean, we said, these stocks can go anywhere here. Dry ships goes from like 17 up to 42. Yesterday, wow, 42, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $102 it goes to yesterday. Bring up the chart. It's just called a rocket ship chart there. Gets over $100, maybe hits a couple of stops or something there, shakes out anybody who's leaning on the big hole number, and then kaplooey, it proceeds to fall down to $66. So it goes from 102 to 66 in 2 hours. So this stock can basically go anywhere. Sorry about the voice, guys. I'm really fighting it.
All right, what can I say? The close of $73. We've danced around that in the pre-market. I'd keep an eye on that. The volume is not dried up yet. That is just, if you're looking for reasons why the stock is trading. You think it's just like some machines just getting in here and just buying.
No, I don't even think I think it's a little bit of machines. I think it's just lack of liquidity. It's got a $1, $2 spread all the time. Somebody in our chat is bringing up a great point. So many reverse splits on this thing. The float is so low here now. So you have a low float combined with, not being able to borrow the stock, 10% short interest, a stock that everybody thought was going through bankruptcy, and crazy things happen with low float stocks. They don't have options on them. So there's just no liquidity out there. And, somebody starts looking for, a seller there, and there just isn't any seller. So then they got to go up a buck or two. You want to buy like 3, 4, 5,000 shares, you got to go up 5, 6 points to get it. So, here's somebody in the pre-market bidding 75.50 for 4,900. It's tough to get filled on 4,900 shares. I mean, this thing's trading 100 by 100, 2 points wide. So any type of institutional buyer there, anybody who's trying to scramble to buy some serious size on the $5 stock, is hurting big time here. But it wasn't even this one. Dry ships was, obviously the leader here. But all the other stocks in the sector, crazy as well. Like bring up SHIP. That went from $3 up to over $6 yesterday. TOPS went from $3.50 up to $6.50, up over 100%. You can look at DSX, Diana Shipping. That's went from 250 up to like 450 yesterday. ESEA is another one. Euroseas, that's went from $1 to $6. I mean, these things just, all of the basically everybody's had these stocks and basically thinking that they're dead money, and all of a sudden they're alive again here. But I don't think this is a change of anything longer term for these companies. It's simply a huge massive short squeeze in the dry ships, but not even that. It's just people just massively getting run over if you're trying to fade that move. Hopefully nobody was short the move, or at least none of our listeners were short that move, because that was incredible.
And how's it on the borrow? Can you borrow it?
No. I've tried to locate. You can't even find shares for this thing, which is again why it's so illiquid. Stocks that can borrow are more liquid because obviously people can come out there and bet on them going down. But and let us know in the chat if you can find. Jimmy A says he can't find locates. I can't find locates, not through Goldman, not through any of my other brokers either. So if you got locates, let us know because we're interested to where you can actually borrow this stock. But when stocks become this hard to borrow, first of all, you can get buy-ins that happen that can start these things, because when a stock, and this just going back, how the market works, if your broker can locate the stock and you short it, and all of a sudden, let's say you're carrying that for 3, 4, 5 days, maybe even a couple of weeks, all of a sudden the broker can't find it to locate it, they can go in your account and say, well, they'll usually send you a message, say, look, we can't locate this, you got to cover this by the end of the day. If you don't cover it by the end of the day, they will physically go into the market and buy your stock. Your broker can actually execute the stock on the buy side for you. So believe it or not, that does happen when they can't locate. They got to be in compliance there. So, you could be seeing buy-ins, and stuff like this when a stock becomes hard to borrow. Here it is, $80 again. It's up another 10%. I mean, this thing just bounces around 2-3 points in seconds.
And volume has not dried up yet. So remember I was talking about on the show yesterday that sometimes these moves have a lot of momentum, and then the momentum slows down. The volume kind of goes away. The buyers go away. The day traders go away. The bots go away. Not the case yet. Traded 10 million the last 2 days. You can look back on. You go back to November 8th. It traded 42,970 shares. So. Still the Momo stock. I just couldn't really give you any technicals on this besides the close 73 even. Oh, it just printed 81. Wow, that's a little bit of a
It's
trade.
just all over the map. I mean, who knows? Like I said yesterday, this is a casino stock. It's still a casino stock here today. If you're trading this thing, you can make big money, you can lose big money. It's just basically go to the casino and bet whatever you want, because that's what I think. It's more of a coin flip here, whether you're making money or losing money on this thing. Very difficult. If you're good at trading this type of stuff, by all means, continue to trade it. But I'll tell you, I've never been able to make money trading this kind of stuff. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to look at. It's fun to analyze. But I'm not going to dip my toe into this, because I might as well just go to the casino and bet on red and hope for the best. And I'm not in the business to go and be gambling, even though I'm a trader and everybody thinks it's gambling. I make educated bets, and I cannot make an educated bet on something like this.
Before we move on and do some of the earnings stocks, we have a few of those. Colts Luck, who we haven't seen in a while, is asking about Amazon and Celgene. We'll just take a quick look. Amazon did make
It came back.
Yeah,
Amazon came back a bit.
Yep, came back a bit. I kind of let me bring up the exact numbers here. I do like what I'm seeing now. If you can clear, you got 3 highs in a row. Let's just call it 745 area. 43.26, 46 even, 46.78. 3 highs in a row within a same area. So that looks like good resistance. Coming back on the downside here. Yesterday's low is way down at 725.99. Dennis, any technical comments on this one? I mean, a little bit of a bounce, nowhere near a 50% retracement yet, though.
Just oversold, so you get a little bit of a dead cat bounce here. I'm not sure, that this is, everybody's going to start jumping back in. I think people have been burned here it started really before Trump. I mean, these stocks started to lose their luster back in October there. So you could say, oh, well, Trump's hurt them, but they were hurting already. And Trump has just continued the sell-off in these things as market has kind of went a little back into value as opposed to growth. So, it's just rotation is what it is. Market's been rotating out of these leaders. So you get a little bit of snapback rally in Facebook yesterday, even in Apple, even in, obviously Amazon and Google. They all had okay days yesterday. But I don't think it's nothing more than a snapback rally. I don't think it's a continuation of, our previous uptrend, which was for years here. So I think, the path of the least resistance on these things is actually still down right now.
And just note that it was earnings that got these things. Facebook, Amazon, that's what got them
And they were
moving.
good reports.
I
And they were
know.
selling them on good reports. And when they start selling good stocks on good reports, that's when it's tipping a hand that valuation is becoming an issue. And I think these are still great companies, but valuation is an issue here.
Very, very difficult to buy them if you're basing it on valuation. And then also Celgene, a sector, a Trump sector that got a little bit of life. Wow, interesting chart on the dailies here. Spiked to 127 on one day, but you basically have 3 out of 4 days of identical ranges here. So maybe throw out that low from that from 3 days ago, and I think you have some pretty good levels of consolidation. Just let me give those to you. Top of the range over the last 3 days, 122.34. And the bottom of the range, 3 out of the last 4 lows in the 118 handle. So it's going to battle it out between those two levels, break down below 118, and maybe get a little bit into that gap area.
The one thing I will say here once again is the biotechs, even though they've had a big run like a Celgene, you could say, oh, well, that's unsustainable, though. These stocks on a multiple basis from a valuation perspective are very cheap, historically to where they trade. Even looking at Gilead, that's one that I obviously own. Had the big pop from Trump from 70 up to $80, found some, major resistance up at 80 where there was a big seller, has pulled back from there. But I look at these things, and these things look more attractive to me than like chasing a financial right now or chasing some of these other big movers. There's value here. I think long term I'm okay. And I think short term there's a little bit of life now in these things. So, something like Gilead, if it can get a green candle in here and get up over 77.5, I think it rechallenges 80. And we always say third time's a charm. If it can take out 80, then it can possibly move higher here. So I think the pullback in the pharmaceuticals is more attractive than some of these pullbacks and some of these other stocks, which aren't very much at all.
All right, so let's take a look. Gilead, Dennis mentioned the double top here at $80. So we got to cover some earnings here. I guess Target would be the bullish report of the day.
Yeah, Target, good report here this morning. Spencer, tell us about it.
$1.04 versus 83-cent estimate for the Q3 EPS. Revenue 16.44 billion versus 16.3 billion. They see Q4 EPS a buck 55 to a buck 75. That's in line. A buck 60 was the estimate. They said that back to school sales were unexpectedly strong.
Target unexpectedly strong here too, up 8.5% this morning, trading up at 77.5. Again, some of these retailers have done pretty well here this quarter. Even on disappointing reports, we've seen some of them pop, and this is a good report here, so not surprising that the market's buying it here. 77.5. The only thing I gotta say is, there is a lot of overhead supply. It's a stock that had been weak. If you just go and you look out at your weeklies there, you can see there's been lots of action over the last 2 years in the upper 80s, and it's never been able to hold there. So I think as you approach $80, you find resistance once again.
Pre-market high, I'll give you that first of all. A little over 78 at 78.68, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Currently trading at 77.50, minor support, and let me call that minor support at 76.80. Basis the daily chart. Dennis is talking about this congestion here. This is based the weekly chart. Really struggled. You also had 2 weeks that you struggled at 80. We'll see if anyone is going to be booking profits off the open because it's a big, big move for a stock that typically moves a buck and a half, $2 a day. You got it up.
But I will say, I have seen Target move $5-6 on its earnings reports. If you look, it's actually typical. Even the last report, it went down $5 on its earnings report. So Target is just a little bit volatile always on its earnings. So I'm not surprised at Target. It's not out of the ordinary for Target to move 6 points on an earnings report.
Yeah, well, it's already moved 6 points, and let's see what it gets.
Yeah, I
up.
don't know if I'm chasing it up here. 328,000 shares.
Yeah, that's a lot. It trades decent volume. I'll just note $80 here. You had 5 highs in that area back at the beginning of May.
Also, from the conference call just now, the Target CEO said that they're encouraged to see meaningful improvement in their sale of Apple products.
Oh, really? Well, that's good news for Apple.
Maybe.
Although Apple's not responding to that comment because Apple's just too big. But anyways, and Apple sells products everywhere. But I still think, like Apple, when I'm looking at the pullbacks here and I look at Apple at 106, That's where I like the value. Now, as opposed to the Facebook pullbacks, I got value in Apple, but that's my style of investing. I've always been a value investor there. So, but if you had to, say which stock do you want like on the pullback here, Apple's pretty attractive at 106. Walmart's getting a pop here too with Target, Joel. Walmart's trading up about 1% in the pre-market here. Give us quick technical thoughts here on WFT.
Walmart here. Let's see what's doing in the pre-market. Just above 72. That's been the stopping point. We have hit 72.50 pre-market trading back at 72.30. I know Walmart is due out to report, I think, later this week. But boy, oh boy, seeing kind of like the way the target was at 80, you just have so many highs. I'd call it 4 highs between 72.50 and 72.87. So up a buck, holding. I think it'd be a little bit of a struggle to get to 73. All right, Dennis, we'll let you go get some NyQuil, and we're gonna bring in Wally Olapady, senior instructor at Right Side Trading. Really, right back with Wally.
Whether you're a short-term swing trader or a long-term investor, you need to check out Thinkorswim, brought to you by TD Ameritrade. There's a reason why Thinkorswim has been named the #1 trading platform, because it has it all. With Thinkorswim, you can trade stocks, options, futures, forex, and virtually every other type of order. Get notifications on mobile devices and interact with other traders in chat rooms. You can also use technical indicators and see the latest investing and trading education in Think Money magazine. If you want to keep up with the markets, you need Thinkorswim. To experience everything Thinkorswim has to offer, open a TD Ameritrade account today. Thinkorswim, the online trading platform for traders and investors. TD Ameritrade, member SIPC. All investing involves risks.
Welcome back, traders and investors, to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep, brought to you by Benzinga Pro. I'm your co-host, Joel Elconin, along with Spencer Israel and Dennis Dick, and we have Wally Olapadian of Right Side Trading. Wally, how you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I'm up here in Las Vegas doing a seminar on the stock market. So, yeah, it's been going really good so far.
Oh, so you got up early there and lost wages. That's very, very nice for you.
Oh, yeah.
Come on the show. It's always
yeah,
it's always good to hear your cheery.
It's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock over here. So, yeah. But it's nothing. It's okay.
Yep, Vegas never sleeps. Well, let's just go a little bit. Tell us about Right Side Trading and what kind of services you offer.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so Right Side Trading was actually a company I founded. And the reason why we called it Right Side Trading is because I was very frustrated in the past with people showing you where you should have made money or could have made money or would have made money in hindsight. And I just got frustrated to no ends. And so I said, there's got to be a way to see how to trade the market, looking forward, which is what I call the right side of the chart. Because if you're looking at a chart, everything on your left is history, is in the past. So it's either you made money or you didn't. But if you're going to make money, you have to anticipate what's going to happen on the right side of that chart. And so we decided to really focus on how to read technical analysis and use that to really help us determine what the market is going to do or what a stock is going to do prior to actually happening, and not be the people that talk about it in hindsight. And so that's what right side trading is all about.
And what kind of technical indicators do you use?
Well, primarily we use candlestick signals. Very, very, important for us to use candlestick signals, because we would not take a trade without seeing its candlestick signal. In addition to that, we also look at patterns. So whether it's the channel, support and resistance, they call that Western channel. So combining the two together is basically what we use. And then we use some indicators, indicators like the MACD, the stochastics. So I think it's kind of like, I try to use the analogy of a sculptor or a mechanic. You have to know the different types of tools to use to fix your car. Because, the same car might have one day a battery problem, And in that case, you'll need jumper cables to fix it. Okay. But then the next day, it might have a flat tire. And in that case, you'll need a jack to fix that. And then the next day, it might have a radiator problem. And you would need a different set of tools to fix that same car. So when I look at the market, it's very important to understand when to use different type of patterns, different type of indicators, as well as the candlesticks to kind of tell you this is the problem, this is what we've seen, and this is how to fix it and make money off of it.
Could you go in? I know there's a lot of different candlestick signals. Could you just go into perhaps a couple of your favorites?
Absolutely. One of my favorites is the bullish engulfing candle. So this is the candles. If you're looking at the candlesticks on the chart, usually most people have a green and a red. I'm actually looking at your chart over here on Walmart, and you can see that just not too long ago, at that bottom that he had recently, that was a bullish engulfing candle right there. Okay, so that should have told people that, hey, get ready. This market or this stock is getting ready to go higher. Okay. And so, yes, right there, you can see it right there. At that bottom, we had a bullish engulfing candle. Okay. So that's a very good thing. And now, now that's in the past, but let's talk about right now. Is Walmart looking like it's ready to go higher or not? Well, today it produced what I call the right side gap. Okay. Or should I say yesterday, it produced what I call the right side gap, which is a very another powerful signal that tells you that that stock is ready to go even higher. So you look at those and it's telling you that this stock is ready to go higher. That is very positive signs. You combine that with patterns, and we can see that Walmart was in a descending channel, and right now is at the top of that channel. And the fact that it's showing a bullish candlestick signal yesterday is telling me that it's going to break out of that channel and even go higher.
And could you give a bearish one?
Sure. So a bearish one could be something like a bearish Harami. Okay. Is actually my third favorite candlestick signal. And what I like about the bearish Harami is the fact that whenever that appears, more than likely, it has in my opinion, a 70 to 80% chance that the market is going to actually reverse. Okay. And so when I usually see that, I wait for about 2 to 3 days for confirmation that it's actually going down. And once we get that, it actually really drops big. Now, interesting enough, I think this is the chart of Facebook. I don't even know what stock it is, but the stock just looks like Facebook to me.
It is.
Just by looking at the chart.
Wally.
It is? Okay. I'm sorry?
It is. Great call.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. When you look at charts enough, you just kind of know what certain charts look like. But, again, if you look at that high that we've seen right there at 133, that was a bearish engulfing candle, okay? And it's no surprise to me that, Facebook dropped. Now, interesting enough, we have Facebook showing a bullish Harami signal, okay? A bullish Harami signal. And so what that is telling me is that Facebook is near the bottom. So even if it drops tomorrow or tomorrow, I don't expect that drop to last for too much longer. We should be anticipating a reversal in Facebook between today and the end of next week, middle of next week. We should start seeing a reversal take place in Facebook.
All right. Time frames, do you look at daily charts, weekly, monthly? What do you look at intraday?
Okay, so predominantly, we look long-term. Okay, we look long-term. We look at monthly charts, believe it or not. We look for stocks that we see are showing the same candlestick signals, but on a monthly chart, because what that tells us is if we can get those type of signals on monthly charts, then we know that these are stocks that's going to keep on going up or down, depending on whether we saw bullish or bearish stock. We know it's going to keep on going up or down for months to come. And so it's just so much easier rather than having to worry about, what stocks to trade every single day. At the end of each month, we just sit back and look and see which stocks had the right candlesticks that we like in conjunction with patterns, in conjunction with candlestick indicators, and then say, wow, this is a stock that we're looking at. So right now we have Facebook that is showing, really, it is kind of showing a candlestick signal, but here's the interesting thing about Facebook. If you notice, every single time it had a red month, maybe 1 month, no more than 2 months, and then it starts heading back up again. So in a situation like this is a stock that you never want to short until it tells you one thing. So if we put on say a 10 moving average on Facebook, a 10 simple moving average on Facebook, that would kind of give us an idea as to whether or not Facebook is breaking this uptrend that it has or not. At the end of the month, if Facebook should ever close below that 10-period moving average, you do not want to be long in Facebook. Until then, you wait for pullbacks like this. We'll consider this a pullback. You buy at the bottom, and then you just let it keep on riding, going higher.
From Dr. J in the chat, Wally, he wants to know, after you get the bullish Harami signal in Facebook, what do you look for confirmation?
Okay, and that's a very, very good question. So today, I mean, this is live. We were actually talking about this yesterday when we saw Facebook as well. Today, what we're looking for is Facebook to close higher than yesterday's high. If we can get Facebook to close at the end of today, at 4 o'clock today, if it's higher than yesterday's high, then we know that it's time to get into Facebook. Until then, we just simply wait.
We're on the line.
Simple as that.
We're on the line with Wally Olapede of Right Side Trading, giving us some clear analysis on the market. We've got a few minutes left here. Why don't we cover a couple issues that you're looking at on the long side? And the first one is True. Give us your technical setup here in True Card Incorporated.
Yeah, that's correct. So what I'd like you to look at is if you can put on the chart of that, but on the monthly chart.
Okay.
And again, this is like one of those stocks that I said we look to see long term. On the monthly chart, we can see that this stock is in the beginning phases of it going up. Okay. So go to the monthly chart. Yep. All right. That is not the monthly chart.
I got an MO up here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
okay.
a little,
yeah,
there's
little
Now
bit
you
of a
got
delay.
it.
Okay.
Now you got it.
Okay, go
Now
ahead.
you got it. Yeah. Now you got it. Very good. Okay. So we can see on this is a stock. This is the type of stocks that we'd like to stay in long term. Why is that? If you look at where it says the low right here, we had a kind of double bottom right there. And now the market is breaking up above the neckline of that double bottom. On the monthly chart, that tells me month to month, going into the future, for the next 6, 7, 8, 9 months, we should be expecting this stock to keep on rallying higher and higher and higher. So very, very excited about this stock. We would definitely take our chances with stocks like this that are breaking out of a double bottom on the monthly period, on the monthly chart. I mean, this is just a no-brainer to us.
And if the market suddenly goes into reverse here, does that make you adjust, or do you just try and look at the individual chart and try to tune out the noise of the market?
Yeah, we look at the individual chart because what I've noticed with stocks like these that are like, it's kind of like, if you look at it, this stock went from $25 down to $4. I mean, that's almost about a 75% value that it lost, and then now, the structure technically has now changed with the double bottom, and then it's now rallying. It's gone from $4 to about $12 right now. That's almost a 300% return on your money, 200 to 300% return on your money. But this is a stock that it doesn't matter what the market is doing. It's actually defining its own destiny, okay? And the fact now that it's breaking out, if it ends like this by the end of this month, this is a stock, like I said, that we would take our chance and be in a stock like this, because if we had to put a stop, we'll put a stop below $10, okay? So you bought it at 12, you put a stop below 10, that's about, $2 that you're losing per share on that stock. That's the risk that you have for the potential of this stock to make it back up to its highs of $25, okay? That is just something. Yeah, you see, so like we'll put it right there around that $10, level right there, and just let it ride, let it do its thing, because again, this is a stock that is showing very, very strong strength that is trying to go higher.
And fundamentals, I mean, do you dig into the fundamentals on these things, or are you purely a technician?
Purely technicians. We don't look at any fundamentals whatsoever. Matter of fact, I can't even tell you what this company does. I know it's a car company, but what it does, we have no clue.
All right.
We found out that technical analysis can show you everything you need regardless of what the fundamental says.
All right, coal, CNX Coal Resources here. CNXC had a nice run up into the election, hit 2230, little bit of a pullback. What are you seeing in the charts on this one?
Same thing as True. Again, monthly chart, you look at the monthly chart is another stock that is coming off its bottom, ready to start going higher. We want to be in these stocks in the beginning of this bullish run that it looks like it's about to have. We look at the daily chart that we're looking at right now. Yes, we did have a pullback, so that was perfect. It was kind of like giving us, and if you notice, as big as the pullback was, it still could not go below that trend line of this uptrend that it had. And so, yeah, so here's what we're looking at. Again, this is a stock that has now come off the bottom at $5 and is just doing really, really well. It's broken the all-time highs that it had before back in September of 2015. And again, this is just a stock that is showing strength that is trying to go higher.
All right, let's look at two stocks quickly on the bearish side, and the first one's Cody, COTY. What don't you like about this chart?
All right, so you look at that on the monthly chart, it's doing the exact opposite of what we've seen on the previous two that we saw. Okay, it's making lower lows, and right now it just seems like it's going to go. It's trying to head even lower. Okay, and so this is a stock where if you wanted to short a stock, okay, very good. So look at that chart right there. Perfect stock. We had that big bearish engulfing signal right there, like two candles to your left. Yeah, two candles to your left. You'll see like at that high, we saw that bearish engulfing candle signal. And ever since then, it's just been dropping. Okay. Yep, right there. And so now we're looking at a stock that has now broken the lows that we had in January of 2016, January, February of 2016, okay, on very high volumes too as well. So again, this is just stock that is showing that whatever is going on fundamentally with this stock, it's not good. And the technicals are showing us that
and one more, Wally, before we let you go. Budweiser here.
Sure.
Oh, bad candle 2 months ago. Sticking with the monthlies here. It looks like if this thing shakes $100 here, it looks like it could be in big trouble.
It looks like, man, you took the words right out of my mouth. So this is something that we're looking at, and we like this one because it's $120-something. So for it to drop 50% is not that big of a deal at all, okay? And so we're looking at that. It's already at that bottom. So here is where it's critical because it's now at a support area that it had from back in, I want to say, the recent lows that we saw. So if it should break that, we're waiting for this by the end of the month, okay? So right now we're not in Budweiser, but we're watching this very, very closely. If at the end of the month it should go lower and close lower, this is a stock that you want to be shorted, okay? This would be a stock that you want to be shorted.
Nice dip
exactly.
on that one. All right, we've been on the line with Wally Olapede of Right Side Trading, joining us on Benzinga's Pre-Market Tech, giving us a look at his technical analysis. Thanks a lot, Wally. We'll talk to you again soon.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Pays no attention to the fundamentals, sticks with the charts here, and uses the monthlies too. That's kind of interesting to get a better time frames on things. Boom. Let's 8:33. Dennis, you want to come in for a minute or two here? Should we just break and go to Tommy Lackey?
No, I'll just tell you the imbalances here at 8:30. So they're to the sell side on the financials, and they're pretty big. Bank of America, 1.3 million to sell. Morgan Stanley, 150,000 to sell here. Just looking, a couple other ones are all pretty small. Wells Fargo, 32,000 to sell. STT, 55,000 to sell. That's interesting. That stock's really getting hammered here this morning. I think it's just a one-off, though. Looks like it traded down to 75.50, but I think that's just somebody just on 500 shares a little bit too low, I think. I don't think it's going that low. Coca-Cola, 63,000 to sell. Twitter, 55,000 to buy. Twitter has been pretty resilient here in this market. And then Alibaba, also 43,000 to buy, although the buy balance yesterday got faded in Alibaba, and that stock continues to show relative weakness.
All right, 8:34. We're going to take our second break of the day and bring in Tommy Lackey of Relativity Capital Advisors. Welcome back, traders and investors, to Benzinga's pre-market prep, brought to you by Benzinga Pro. I'm your co-host, Joel Elconin, along with Dennis Dick and Spencer Israel, and we have Tommy Lackey on the line of Relativity Capital Advisors. Tommy, how you doing on this Wednesday?
Doing great. How about you guys?
We're doing fantastic here. 1 week and a day past the election here. Just give us some of your overall market thoughts. We've had a lot of sector rotation. S&P's ticked a new high last night by just a few points, but selling off this morning. Kind of give us a little bit of your longer-term perspective on the market.
Yeah, I think obviously anything can pull back at this point, but I think that the action off the elections was pretty positive. I mean, I think a lot of people are expecting more positive if she won, but didn't happen, and it was positive anyway. So with that scenario, I think there was just a lot of money waiting to get in, and we saw it rush in. And those who were short, thinking it was going to roll over even further, we got a pretty rough ride. And basically, if you looked at the breadth, it was pretty oversold going into the election, so it was going to be hard to push too much further. But now, at this point, it's been a wild ride. You kind of have to let things settle a little bit and things like IWN and see if you can find positions. But there's still a lot of rotation going on. And I think if you are willing to do the work, you're still finding pretty solid setups around.
All right, just real quick, one in the chat here before we go to your scans. Larry is asking about Micron Technology here, and we've sold off, really got a battle going on in the 18 handle. Give us your take on Micron Technology, MU.
I think it's a great setup. And I actually wrote about it yesterday afternoon, talking about the fact that this is a pretty large, if you look at it as a cup and handle scenario, it breaks out of here, and you've got a long-term measured move up into the 2650 range. Now, again, it's a over year-long pattern, so it'll take a while to play out potentially, but that's a longer-term target. And shorter term, it's coming out of this handle/flag. The 18 is a battle area, but I think that the way it came out of the flag, I think you've got a good shot here. Not overbought. All the indicators are starting to turn up, and the weekly stayed strong during any pullback. So I like it.
Yeah, and just some of the other tech's been hit, and this has kind of really showed some excellent relative strength. Let's move to your nitrous scan here, and the first stock on there is Agrium, AGU. Your comments: fertilizers have been turning. Talk to us about AGU.
Yeah, them, CF, Moss, Pot, all those in the play have started to turn and had started to get better action off the lows. None of them have really moved really out of those basing patterns in a lot of cases. And this is one, if you look at it on a weekly chart, that's been down below these levels for well over a year. And so at this point, it starts to break out of this, 98 to 100 level. And it's got some pretty good room that it can climb. It had a pretty good run last week, and now it's moved sideways for 2 or 3 days. So it still could pull back here into the 94 range. But I still think you've got a good opportunity that this one could be shaping up.
We had 100.24. That was your high a few weeks ago, back at the end of August. So that's a good level to keep an eye on. Good psychological level. Real quick here out of the chat before we move into nitrous scan here. Thoughts on Disney, DIS?
Well, we got an upgrade this morning. I think I put it on the list down here, and it basically surged off the lows and it's been flagging a little bit above all the major moving averages. The 200 is flattening out and starting to turn up already. And basically got an upgrade this morning. The only thing that's a little concerning is a lot of the option big trades or volume in OI is mixed on this one in the 100 to maybe 102 areas where it looks like it probably would cap things short term.
All right, triple top.
So I don't know if I'd look for a long run.
Yeah, look at this, 98, 14, 31, and 32. Now we are trading above those levels, so let's see if it does pull back, if that acts as support here. Psychological $100 level could come into play too. Moving on, the nitrous GIMO. Tell us about that issue.
Yeah, this has been a leader. This has been the one my Joe has really liked for a while and has talked about on this just tremendous trend.
Who's
And it
Joe?
broke out last week, and it's just been kind of – I'm sorry?
Who's Joe?
Joe is the gentleman I'm working with now from Options Hawk.
Okay.
In the new portfolio we just rolled out last week, and together and working with his process and his idea. And he does a tremendous job following the options flow market, as well as most of the pretty much a top-down view of everything that goes on day to day.
Is he as good on the?
And so with this one,
is he as good on interviews? Is he as good on interviews as you? Should we have him on the show too sometime?
I don't know how much he enjoys doing that. I've never talked to him about it. I've never known him to do them. I'll put it that way. He stays pretty darn busy going through and taking care of his clients and the people that he works for as far as his service. So I don't know if he does much of that, but I could always mention one day and see what's going on. But
right. This thing's
I can handle a lot of it.
Breaking out here, trying to go all-time highs here, maybe clearing that $60 level. I see it the high at $59.80. All right, let's move on to another stock here, VOXX. What are you seeing in the charts here?
VOXX, the only thing I don't like about this one is small and thin. Small, thin, and low price, and that's a triple combination that's not always good, but can make for a lot more volatility. But it looks like if it gets over about this 480 and then 5 level, it definitely is trying to reverse this trend and can continue to kind of stair-step its way up through the dollar levels.
Okay, Mosaic, you mentioned that before as some of the fertilizers. Talk about your technical setup and MOS.
Okay, Mosaic is similar, but not exactly like you're looking at with the other one. It's actually still a little bit below those highs. So this one would be the break of this small flag and then looking for it to work its way up that 31 level. And then at the 31 level, you reevaluate. Again, I've always said I'm not a big on straight targets. I look to reevaluate, see how it acts at different levels. So, and from there, if you can get over 31, you're looking at a good strong reversal, but I think that might take a few minutes.
All right, let's go to the meltdown filter here, and TTM. Let's take a look at that one. I know that was a recent IPO, and is that? Oh no, that's Tata Motors. I'm sorry. What do you got in Tata Motors here on the meltdown filter?
Well, Tata Motors is an interesting scenario because it gapped down yesterday right to the 200 moving average. And it's one of those areas where the stock is definitely weak and it's definitely had some issues. I know it's been in the news. But at this point, it looks like it could be ready to bounce some back up towards the moving average clusters around the 37 to 38 area, up in that gap area as well, if it can get that far. Now, if you get up into maybe get up in the 3650 area, which is the 150 SMA or moving average, and it just is a weak bounce, then it might be one to reshort. Because if this one does continue to roll over, it's got a good ways to go until it has a major gap down in the 30 level.
NEE looked here, bounced the 117 to 120 zone. You're looking to reevaluate for a short. Talk to us about NEE.
Well, I think it's one of the ones that's kind of a look both ways. At this point, it looks like a bounce play, and it looks like it's stretched pretty far downside. However, it's the same thing. If you think that the utilities can hang on and this was an overreach, then you buy this one because it's one of the better names. If you think that they're done and inflation's really heading higher quickly and rates are, then this one will probably not go too far. And so that 118 to 120 zone is where you look for a weak bounce to go into that you could reevaluate to short. It just depends on your overall view on the utilities market. And I'm not completely convinced the rates are going to be skyrocketing from here quite as much as the bonds have been suggesting this week or so.
Yeah, the ways the banks and some of these financials have been acting, it looks like 5% rates right around the corner. But we'll see even what the Fed does in December. Moving on.
Exactly.
Some other stocks worth a look. Bank America, you're saying I buy on any pullback, has had big call buyers in the last 2 days, the Feb and April 20 call strike, and a ton of the Jan 19 calls on Friday. So, man, oh man, someone's jumping in here after the big run. 1, 2, How many up days in a row has that been in Bank America? But anyways, tell us your technical thoughts on BAC.
Well, this is one that's this is much as technical as a flow play. Is that your scenario to where when you get people that are pounding that kind of money into the calls, you're talking about $5, $6, $10 million premium plays, not full value of what they're controlling. So at this point, you can be in a situation to where, like you and me think, wow, this has gone far fast. Let's let it pull back a little bit, maybe close that gap around 19. But if it closes that gap around 19 and starts showing you strength, which it always has to start showing at least intraday, some kind of a reversal before you're going to want to. You just don't buy it going straight down. But looking at some area like that, knowing those calls and all that OI is up there, it kind of gives you a little bit more confidence that there's someone that wants it to gravitate higher over time. Maybe a little stretch today, but that doesn't mean you watch it for a little while because a lot of those calls were January, February, and April calls. So they've got some time.
And a triple gap and go in Bank America. When is the last time that you've seen that? A triple? It did it a few sessions ago. I mean, is it going to come back and fill those gaps, Tommy? I need to know.
There's no way to know. There really is no way for you to know for sure, but it's one of those areas. Like I said, I mean, you can find different ways to play it if you're an options player. Those options still aren't that expensive. I mean, they're kind of expensive for the run we've had, but they're, you may take a small piece and then each step down finds you levels that you might want to take a small piece. It just all depends on how you're playing it. If you're a guy who wants to play for the next, 3 hours, I'm not sure I'd be chasing this one here.
$20 too. That's just a psychological level. After you hit 253 during the financial crisis, boom, you came right back up to $20 and failed, went back to the $5 area. So you're right. If you look at something on a different time frame here, that's a really bullish looking chart as opposed you pull it up on the dailies and you're thinking, holy smokes, this thing's got to come in. Different perspective on the market. Microsoft, you've had a big call buyer in the January 57.50 calls, and I did notice this one closed the gap from earnings here. Big open interest on the call side. Tell us your technical setup here in Microsoft.
Yeah, I think that's the one as well that, when you get gap closes like this that hold, now at this point, if you get a move over, say 59, somewhere in that range, get in there and pick your spot. But somewhere over the 59 range, I think you could continue to move from here. And those call buys were basically already in the money. So that's someone who's willing to pay for some in the money because they have a pretty good confidence this thing is going to move.
And Tommy, how many shares of dry ships are you long? DRY.
None. And I'm not sad about it either. I mean, sure, I'd love to have had it, but it just doesn't seem to be what worth the time to try to search those out for me. Other people, rock on, have fun with it.
Yeah, risk reward ratios. We just hit $120, up $44. Unbelievable move here in dry ships. If you're making money in this one, you're doing a good job.
Congrats to those who did.
Risk reward. We've been on the line with Tommy Lackey of Relativity Capital Advisors, giving some stocks on the long side and the short side to keep an eye out for. Tommy, thanks a lot. We'll speak to you again next week.
All right, guys, have a great week.
All right, 8:49 here. We'll bring Dennis back in here for the last 5-6 minutes.
I'm too busy trading dry ships.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you?
No, I am not in dry ships. That we talked about it 20 minutes ago on the show. It was $73. It was 71. Then it was 75. Then it was 80. It's now $120. Hi, well, 100, not quite 120. Got up to 119. Looks like 96. But unbelievable here. Spread still a couple points wide. This stock is just crazy. And I don't have an update on how many shares are outstanding, but somebody was saying there was only a few 100,000 shares outstanding. Now, I'm not sure if that's true or not because of all the reverse splits. So if you do know how many shares are outstanding, I'd like to know that just so we could calculate what the market cap of this is. But just looking at the chart here,
wait, I think it was just halted.
Was it halted?
I think so.
It hasn't traded for a minute. You might be right. anyways, just looking at, just from this perspective here, dry ships, you look at it back just last year, it was 250 a share. Then 2016 was 400 a share, and that's the beginning of 2016. Actually, it was 400 a share. Middle of 2015 was 1400 a share. So obviously, there had so many reverse splits, so taking so much stock away here that you're talking about a company that just doesn't have a lot of liquidity out there at all.
All right, interesting here. Stock Hunter says it has a book value of $57, and now we got a halt, and it's regulatory.
No, 57 cents, he said, is the book
57
value.
cents?
That's what he said as a book. I don't know how you even get a book.
Is that really the book value?
This is a company that they were talking about potential bankruptcy. I saw it go by my timeline here. A couple, even a month ago, I was thinking they were talking about this company going under. So funny things happen when the floats get this low. Somebody's saying that there's only somebody says 21 million shares. Somebody's saying 430,000 shares. I guess Yahoo Finance is saying 430,000 shares. It's confusing because they do so many reverse splits all the time on this thing that they've done, that they've taken so many shares away that nobody's got it up to date anymore. But if there's only 430,000 shares outstanding, you're talking about a market cap $100, so 4.3. You're talking about like $43 million. The company's worth. It's pretty small still.
Jimmy A is saying, where is the SEC and all this? And now you got a regulatory halt. I mean,
they're here right now.
You think?
I mean, stocks can do what they want to do, though. So, this isn't, really manipulation or anything. This is just, you see this happen. We see this type of stuff happen, not all the time, but at certain times of, of the year. You see this, or not even of the year. You just see this stuff, sporadically, you see this stuff to happen, Joel, where stocks just go crazy, and it's due to no liquidity. And that's what it is. And this has been 3-4 days of no liquidity, and it's running over whoever is short. It could be partly buy-ins here, people not being able to locate the stock that was short before. We have a plethora of reasons to why stuff like this happens. When you have a low float, though, this is the risk. And what I'm going to say here is the exact same thing I said yesterday. This is why I do not short stocks with low floats and stocks that trade under $5, because stuff can happen like this, and you think you buy a stock that's trading at $5, most you can lose is $5. You short a stock trading at $5, the most you can lose is all your money. I mean, here is a stock that's at $119. If you short from $5, you could be down some significant money here now. So, you feel bad for the 10% short interest here, because in all likelihood, I think, this stock eventually comes back, but those guys are going to be blown out. So, I can't, you can't say, oh, I'm going to come short it up here because it's going to come back. The thing could go anywhere. It's $2,000 a share a year ago. So, $119, who knows? It can go anywhere. It'll be interesting to see what the halt's all about, though.
Yeah, now the halt here, because if you're just flipping this thing and, going back and forth on the long side, now you got a halt here. I don't know. I mean, I think that's one of the primary reasons for not getting involved in something like this, besides the volatility, is the very fact that this thing can get halted. So we'll keep an eye on your Benzinga Pro for updates on the most talked about stock of the year, of the decade, really. Dennis, we have.
I want to say Facebook too, really getting beat now here. Facebook, I don't know what happened here in the last couple of minutes, but Facebook is now down 3% in the pre-market.
Could have to do with the Snapchat IPO. Could have to do with this whole fake news debacle. There's a few things going on.
That's a big down move here for Facebook. Look at Amazon, because I always go to FANG once you see Facebook. Well, not that there's components or anything, but they all seem to kind of move together. Amazon is now trading down 5 points here in the pre-market. Google's now trading down 5 points here in the pre-market, and Netflix is trading down about 0.5% in the pre-market. So Netflix not getting hit quite as hard as some of the other ones.
Yeah, Facebook. We just took a quick dip and dive here to 113 and a quarter. Going back to the daily charts here, you do have a couple lows in the dailies here. What's the best one I can find here? 113.04, 113.67, and 113.81. There were three lows that you had at the end of June, early July. That's where your bounces hold now. Under that, maybe you're thinking 110 area, 110.55. Your June 28th low. This is going back by _Apple. Facebook found miscalculating metrics, and that was something that we talked about, or I don't know for sure, that's just coming into the chat here, that was something on the videos, right?
Yeah, that they were,
Yeah,
and that was
they
when the
had.
stock was up 130, and it's really not got a lot of love since then.
So that was Joel. What you're referring to is they had misrepresented what a view counted as.
Correct.
But this one, I think they're saying that it was bugs. That bugs led to like them over or under counting. I don't. No one knows what
No
you know.
one knows,
Yeah.
but you know what you do know, and that's the price action, and the price action is not good here in Facebook. S&P's not able really to get off the mat here, trading down 875. A lot of red on the screen. Dennis, you want to talk anything changes?
Feels like the S&Ps. I see a red everywhere here. Doesn't it feel like the S&Ps aren't down very much for where I'm seeing the financials getting beat hard here today. Oil is down here on the day. Now you're obviously seeing Facebook and FANG starting to take a hit here this morning. I mean, the only thing I see really that's green here is some of your defensive stocks. Disney because it caught an upgrade from Deutsche Bank, and some of the retail stocks off the target earnings. So maybe retail is going to be your savior here today because it always seems like something saves the S&P here. But man, only being down 0.3% on the S&P doesn't seem like much considering how much carnage I'm really seeing in a lot of individual stocks out here today.
Yeah, I mean, you have a couple things down. I mean, the dry ships, that will be the good story of the day to see what happens with that. Facebook here, it's stabilizing a little bit at 114. 39. Dennis, want to go to this Bank America chart again? Tommy had talked about the big call and put buying here. I've kind of been fighting this thing a little bit. I mean, a triple gap and go. I mean, when's the last time you've seen that in Bank America?
Yeah, full disclosure, I have a long position in Bank of America right now, but it's not a flat out long. I'm short other financials against it, so it's just a pair trade here. So don't just think I'm getting bullish Bank of America here. I'm just paired up. I'm short BK. I'm short a couple other regional financials against Bank of America here this morning. But just saying that this has been an extended run here. And there's eventually going to be some profit taking, but I thought that yesterday, I thought that the day before, and the stock just continues to defy gravity here and continues to, by the end of the day, closes up. I mean, we were down most of the day yesterday on Bank of America, and then it finds buyers at the end of the day and starts to run up and ends up closing up near the highs again. So, I mean, it's hard to fight this trend until it actually can get a red candle in there. I mean, we haven't even seen a red candle in Bank of America yet. Some of the other financials we have, but this has been an incredible move here. Feels overextended, but who knows where the top is.
2020, that was the high of the move. That was your high on Monday. 2018 yesterday. You got the close of 2016. So you just got to wonder if, you're getting a little bit of breakout traders, going on the close over 20. But there's the battleground. I'll say takes out 2020. That was your high from Monday on a closing basis, and we can go. But this is your second time dipping under 19, closing over 20 and then dip. And I know it was a struggle to get through it 20 yesterday. Had to chew through some stock, but the S&P's just carried it away. All right, 8:59 here. We are going to wrap things up with Spencer, and he's going to preview Thursday's show.
Tomorrow we got Dan Klein on the show. He covers technology and business for Motley Fool. He was in charge or an editor for the Microsoft Bing Finance app. He has worked for the Boston Globe as a business producer, so he's got a pretty thorough background in the business media. So we're looking forward to having Dan Klein on tomorrow's show. If you missed any part of today's show, including our interviews with Wally or Tommy, you can catch our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or the show in its entirety on YouTube after we're done here. If you want Benzinga Pro, it's Benzinga's real-time news platform. If you want it for free for 2 weeks, you can call us up at 313-723-2000 or get your free 2-week trial at pro.benzinga.com right now. Please always remember that all the information, material, and content from our show is for informational purposes only and not meant to be investing advice. So that's it for us today. We're out of here, and stay safe, everybody, with dry ships, and we'll be watching with you. I know we are watching a lot of. I was watching a lot of it yesterday, so we'll keep on watching the dry ships.
Any news on why it was halted?
Great question. Let me go back into the pro.
Nothing.
No,
Nothing.
no. So, no news there. Halt continues, and we'll see what happens, folks. So, have a good rest of your day, and we'll be back with you tomorrow morning.
Whether you're a short-term swing trader or a long-term investor, you need to check out Thinkorswim, brought to you by TD Ameritrade. There's a reason why Thinkorswim has been named the #1 trading platform, because it has it all. With Thinkorswim, you can trade stocks, options, futures, forex, and virtually every other type of order. Get notifications on mobile devices and interact with other traders in chat rooms. You can also use technical indicators and see the latest investing and trading education in Think Money magazine. If you want to keep up with the markets, you need Thinkorswim. To experience everything Thinkorswim has to offer, open a TD Ameritrade account today. Thinkorswim, the online trading platform for traders and investors. TD Ameritrade, member SIPC. All investing involves risks.